See us in tech.
Are they intimidated by?
Well, because they don't see it. If they're in the engineering school, I'm gonna tell you, no, they don't see.
No.
They don't see black faculty. So how are they going to see people in the space, in the workspace? So we're trying to do some other things.
So and to your point about that, so my in-office, my group is about 30 people. Entirely, if you look over at all of who Dan York has in his organization, there's probably maybe about close to 75, because there's people outside. I am the only black person on my team in a group of 30. If I were a different person, that would be intimidating. But through my career, I've gotten used to being the only one in the room, so it no longer phases me. But if you are intimidated by that, because I do think that matters. There are some kids that are intimidated by being the only one in the room.
Right.
They think that they have to be better than, and then the pressure just makes them melt down.
Right.
You know, you have to get comfortable with just
who you are,
being who you are.
The other thing is,
and that's a hard thing. Like, most people grow to that. So I'm just saying, like, if, to your point, you've gotten over all these obstacles just to get to SC. Now you get to SC and there's, you know, like, you're in your dorm, you're like one of 3 black girls in the entire dorm, let's say. And that might be exaggerating, but point being is you are still always guarded. You're still always protected. You're not letting that guard down because there's nobody around for you to do that with. And you just grow to doing it, but I just see why it's hard for these kids to connect.
Well, I get it. My daughter graduated from Brown 2 years ago, so I
Yeah.
but she has parents, educators, you know. But so we're talking about secondary and post-secondary students, right? You know, we just put together a Masterminds Academy for the National Association for Community College Entrepreneurship. And what we did was we created this program, this academy, where we just made it effortless for the students to participate in it. And so they're going to be sponsored to go to the conference in October. They're going to participate in actual projects and help plan the whole event. So my point is that do we see, is there value added if they are a part of, you know, developing and planning the entire event and not just coming to participate, but maybe they have some ownership.
You said something before about content marketing, so here's an idea that I'm just throwing out there. I'm not saying it will work, it's just an idea. So what I was just saying to Michelle, as you heard when we were first talking about how we might shift the focus a little bit this year, is that I'd like to try to land a couple of celebrities who are doing really cool stuff in tech or in entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the calling card.
Okay, so let's suppose we can get said person, whoever that is, right? will.i.am, you know, Andre Young, whoever, right? Okay. If you can get that person, wouldn't it be cool to interview that person and some of the other people that are going to be on the speaking roster and have videos that you throw up on the event website that are there throughout?
Absolutely.
I'm happy to interview anybody we can get in a chair. I'm not prepared to do any kind of like video work, editing, post-production, none of that stuff.
Well,
that sounds like an opportunity for some students,
well,
right?
Like I said,
Outreach, community outreach. So all of the digital outreach, so taking those assets and then seeding social media and other things to kind of drive attendance and interest on it. Again, I know how to do it. I'm not trying to do it.
You're talking about
right?
practical. You're talking about practical experience. So, at City College, I commission students all the time to do our promotional videos for our programs, to do our posters for our programs, and they're actually building their resume. So to have them involved in the event, really, they do see themselves crossing the finish line.
Right.
They do.
so it's for secondary and post-secondary students, so our high school students?
well, okay, so here's the journey. So here's the journey, because you kind of hear us in an evolution mode. The journey originally was professionals. You know, then, and for a long time, because, you know, as an added value industry resource, we position this conference just like every other conference here.
Sure.
You know, especially with this topic. You know, because we're sitting right here in Los Angeles. This is the rising industry.
Exactly.
It's a professionals draw. But then we started realizing some other things. One, that because this is a new industry, then why aren't our students more closely connected to this? Because we do have a film school, we do have an engineering school, we have gaming here, we have kids in the business school, we have kids that have other soft
Sure.
and more creative in any of these schools, but they were not connected to this conference. So we just kind of started that conversation. There is no other conference probably at this university, when you think about it, that really involves a student component. But because we know that this space is so important, you know, that's what kind of generated that, well, we need students here because they got to see what the real industry looks like. And because we're here, because this is an industry where, you know, in all frankness, has many racial barriers.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, and so it is an industry of who you know and how you get in that door. And if we're here, then at least we know we can get our kids in there and speak for them and help them trade those cards and have a broader conversation. But the diversity pipeline, we all have to be very creative about how we're putting our kids in this pipeline for whatever the industry space is. It just happens to be for Silicon Beach right now. We know we can touch it much more closely.
Right.
So we're gonna do this maybe a little differently. So we've evolved to this space now of
Michelle,
how
I'm
do we make
thinking-
this happen.
I'm just visioning it as you're talking about it. So I'm trying to figure out a way to tie the SC students into the LE High Tech.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So why don't we make paid internships and have them be mentors to our community college
I like
students
it.
and our high school students?
I like
Okay.
that.
And that way,
That works.
that's
I
a
like it
way,
too.
that's
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
that's a way I can get them paid.
Yeah.
So I need to go and see how much money I can allocate to paid internships.
So you see how we make worlds collide now?
I'm telling you, I was like, what just happened?
Right.
Oh my
Right.
God.
I'm sorry.
That would work.
Blame Kevin.
That would
That's
work.
right, that's right.
That would work.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
I can
something
get
that they
her
can
name
get
is
on their